Throughout the 1960s, the Isle of Jersey in the British Channel Islands was subject to a spate of vicious attacks on women and children. A dark and frightening masked figure would enter their homes and on gaining access would beat and sexually abuse them while they lay in their beds. A number of female Jersey residents at the time were said to have slept with guns under their pillows in fear of being selected by the nameless attacker, soon to be known as the Beast of Jersey. As well as the mask, which became synonymous with the Beast of Jersey case, he wore a dark coat and spiked wristbands. Suspicion of the attacks initially fell on an eccentric agricultural worker and fisherman, Alphonse Logastoir. Local people claimed he fitted the description of the intruder and claimed to have seen him walking the streets alone at night. But due to lack of evidence against him, he was finally released, but not after months of torment from the police. He claims they searched his house 12 times in as many months, before giving up their futile witch hunt. Although now off Scotland Yard's radar, Logastoir remained under suspicion by the public, and his cottage was burnt to the ground in an arson attack. He was now so afraid for his life that he fled to an island 7 miles off the Jersey coast. There he remained in exile for 14 years, even though suspicions of him being the Beast of Jersey faded after the attacks continued in his absence. From 1961 until 1971, a total of 30 suspects were questioned, but no one was caught. It's hard to believe, even in the days before modern DNA testing and policing methods, that on an island only 6 by 9 miles wide, the attacker went undetected for nearly 11 years. But all that was to change, thanks to a chance encounter by the police. On the evening of July 17, 1971, police noticed a car running a red light. On pursuit of the car, the driver sped away from the police, and when they finally caught up with him, they inspected the stolen vehicle and found a coat and a mask that matched the description of that worn by the long evasive attacker. The driver of the car was Edward John Louis Paisnel. Paisnel was born in 1925. A resident of Jersey, Paisnel was a construction worker. He was also affiliated with the La Preference care home, run by his wife Joan and his mother-in-law. At the children's home, he played the role of a friend to the children, referring to himself as Uncle Ted. He even dressed as Father Christmas at his wife's request. It's thought that she knew nothing of his double life, but it was reported by a child resident that she was also involved in the abuse of children in the care home, beating them often. A former resident of La Preference once stated that Paisnel stalked the hallways and a maze of bedrooms which he would watch through small holes in the walls. On entering their rooms, he would stand over them and watch them as they slept before launching his attack. Some of the victims recalled seeing his eyes peering through the horrific rubber mask. Paisnel was said to have modelled himself on the murderous French folklore character Bluebeard, and aspired to that level of notoriety through the sexual and physical abuse of women and children. It also became known that he was a worshipper of Satan and took part in satanic rituals before and after executing his attacks. Following his arrest on that July evening in 1971, Edward Paisnel was convicted of 13 counts of rape, abuse and sodomy and was sentenced to 30 years. He returned to Jersey briefly following his release from prison, but moved away due to the strength of local feeling against him. He died on the Isle of Wight in 1994. Since a widely publicised 2008 investigation into the notorious Haute de Garenne care home case, many now believe that the Beast may have had more victims than once thought, with Paisnel not only abusing them but possibly playing a role in their murders. The 2008 report states there are numerous references to Paisnel visiting Haute de la Garenne, both legitimately and under more sinister circumstances. During the 2008 investigation known as Operation Rectangle, previous residents reported that former employee Gordon Wateridge was said to assist Paisnel, picking out vulnerable victims for him. However, it was ultimately decided by investigators that the evidence wasn't strong enough to say for sure whether Paisnel was involved with the horrific events at Haute de la Garenne. In 1972, Paisnel's wife co-wrote a book about the predator's life entitled The Beast of Jersey. In it she backs up her claims she knew nothing of his horrific double life, but many doubted her. In 2012, a man by the name of Alan Norton, who had been convicted of killing his younger sister along with a family au pair in 1965, claimed that Edward Paisnel was the killer, asking for DNA testing to clear his name. But Jersey police said that none of the forensic samples were kept and were destroyed years ago. Norton spent 32 years behind bars for the killings, and despite his own pleas of innocence, his former wife Sonia Miller said she's still convinced of her ex-husband's guilt. Was this a last-minute desperation plea by an evil opportunist, or did Edward Paisnel's dark secrets run deeper than we once thought?